Why am I not getting? Can you guys still hear me? Give me a thumbs up. Awesome. High tech for the win. Hey, Mike. Oh, that's you, Melissa. I was like, oh, Mike got on. Okay. Okay. Let's come into a seated posture. Let your eyes closed. Check in, notice how you're feeling. Practice noticing how you're feeling without judging it, without allowing it to flavor your whole experience. It helps me if when I notice something I say in my head, oh, that's interesting. Notice how the breath is moving through the body. And if you're not already doing it, invite in that long, deep breathing where you inhale and you fill yourself up from the pelvic floor all the way up to the collarbones in the front, back, and rib cage. And exhale out the collarbones and the ribs and the belly. Our breath can be such a tool for us, especially during these uncertain times, to help us, available to us anytime to help us feel more calm. Next, begin to notice where your head is in relationship to the rest of your spine. We tend to have our head significantly forward, and slide your head back so the collarbone or the roof of the mouth is almost over the throat. And then the chin gently draws down and the back of the neck and skull lengthen up. That should help you lift up a lot of your way out of the pelvis as you lengthen the vertebrae, and it should also help lift up your chest. Draw your hands in front of your heart, rub your hands together a little bit, create some heat. Draw your thumbs up to your sternum. Continue to pull the chin in and the back of the skull up. And we'll take a few rounds of breath together and then we'll tune in with the invocation. Full breath in. Suspend the breath. See if you can let go of some of your thoughts. And exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One more round. Exhale. And we'll tune in. Oh. Om Namah Shivaya Gurave Satchitananda Mortaye Nishprapanchaya Shantaya Niralambaya Tejase. Om. Let yourself be still. Notice how you feel. Keep your eyes closed. When you're ready, bring your hands back down to your lap or your knees. And this invocation is about helping us remember that there's so much good in the world, and that when we can let go of like our attachment to the way we think things need to be, we can start to connect to this deeper reality that's always present, that's like really true. So the true, not the things that we are so attached to that we are just so hold on to that brings us suffering, but this deeper truth that lets us connect to love and see beauty even in the challenges. And a lot of that is known in the heart, but then our head comes in and justifies why that's not the case, and that's when the suffering comes. Hold your eyes open. So today we're going to be working a lot with the idea of the placement of the head and the heart. I know for most of us, including me, I catch myself just constantly head leading the way like a turtle. And that physically brings more attention to the neck and the shoulders. But also it's me moving into life first with my brain. And it's my brain that then tries to run the whole show. And when my brain tries to be like the master of my whole organism, I ultimately suffer. But if we can put the head in its position of alignment, so the head moves back, one of the markers is the ear holes are in line with the collarbones, not forward. Then the heart lifts and we like meet the situations of life with the heart. We can use our brain to help plan, but our brain isn't running the show. So our heart runs the show. We're heart centered. The brain is a tool that we can use, but the brain isn't running the show. And you can see this so clearly in the muscles of the neck too. When the head is forward, you're gaining tension in the neck, which I consider like the stress muscles. But when the head is back, the upper neck begins to be more soft. Okay. So take your head, I call this the walk like the Egyptian, and move your head forward and back. So you see how it can like slide forward and back. You can also take your two fingers of your right hand and push your chin back. So the chin draws back and the chin gently tucks. Then you can kind of check, are your ears over your collarbones? And then another way you can do this is by taking your hands, we're gonna do this a lot today. Take your hands and clasp them and bring them behind your head. One of the tendencies is to widen your elbows a lot, but then that pushes the shoulders forward. So keep the elbows drawing in so the shoulders can suck back. And you're gonna push the head back, and then you're gonna make the hands resistant right when the ears get over the collarbone, so the hands won't move anymore, but you'll keep pushing your head back. And then you can use your hands to gently traction the back of the skull up as you draw your shoulders back and down. We're bringing the head in line with the heart. Take some breaths here. Notice how it feels. Like all yoga alignment, often the first times you do it, it feels weird because you're not used to it. But the more you remind your body and your organism that this is a more optimal place, and your body craves it. And then when you come in here, you get this feeling like, that's it. Okay, take a little side stretch over to the right and figure out how you can readjust your head. So chin gently tucks. Sometimes I talk about this like pinching an apple between your chin and your sternum. As you lengthen the back of your occiput slightly away from the back of your shirt. And come back up through center. One little side stretch over to the left. As you draw the back of the occiput, the bony bump on the back of the head, towards the top of the head, and you draw your shoulder blades down, you create gentle traction through the cervical vertebrae. Come back up through center, one more time to the right. When I do this, sometimes I get like a click. And I think that's like a sound of my optimal alignment clicking into place. We're gonna take the right hand down to the floor, fingertips on the floor. You can push down through your hand to drop more through the left rib cage. The left hand stays behind the head. Push the head into the resistance of the left hand as you pull the left hand, gently tractioning the head away from the neck. You could gaze up towards the elbow. And then you're going to keep the left humerus where it is, the left upper arm, and then just straighten the left arm. And if that feels like too much tension comes into your neck, you can keep your hand behind your head. Right, take your hand back, left hand behind the head. Then we'll come back up through center, right hand behind the head. And the more you do this, find that sweet spot of like the returning. It's like when you listen to the whispers of your heart and it's like, oh yes, that's right. Little side stretch over to the left. Left fingertips come down to the floor. I use my finger pads, my up like a spider. Push down through your left hand to draw the right ribs up. Lengthen through the back of the neck, chin slightly tucks. Right elbow stays pulled in. So if I put my fingers into your right armpit, it should feel hollow. And then option, straighten your right arm. Take your hand behind your head, come back up through center, both hands on the back of the head. One more time, lengthen, and then release. Nice. Does that make sense? Does anyone have questions about the head thing? Okay. Natalia, do you have a question? Oh, let me unmute you. Okay, what's your question? Oh, you're muted on your, I can unmute you.
There we go.
Oh, I can't. There you go.
Is that the Jalandhara Bandha? Is that what
it is?
Awesome.
In Anusara, we call it skull loop, but in all yoga systems, they call it Jalandhara Bandha. Okay. Come up to standing. I would like this to feel like a class where, like, if you have a question, you can communicate. So if you want to ever unmute yourself, you might just need to wave to get my attention because I have you muted, so I won't hear you. If you jump around frantically, I should see it eventually. Okay, standing at the front of your yoga mat. Root down through your feet, and then bring your awareness to your feet and begin to slide your awareness up. So you have your feet, and then a soft bend in your knees, and then a neutral pelvis, and then the ribs, and then the shoulders, and then the head. So from the side, the lateral bone on the outside of the ankle, the knee, the outer hip, the ribs, the shoulder, and the ear. We're kind of trying to get those all to stack up in one line so we can be harmonious in that. Okay, and then take your hands behind your head. Most people eventually can stack up everything, and it's normally the head that's the last thing to come into alignment. So move the head back until the roof of the mouth is about over the esophagus. Push the head back into the resistance of the hands and gently traction the back of the skull up. Suck the head of the arm bones into the shoulder sockets and draw the scapula tips down. Great, as you inhale, stretch the arms up to the sky. And as you exhale, hinge forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, lengthen, heart forward. Chin slightly tucks, and then exhale, plant your hands, set back downward facing dog. You can move around a little bit here if that would feel good. And then when you're ready, inhale and stretch your right leg up to the sky. From the back of your heart, push out through your hands and out through your legs. And then as you exhale, step your right foot forward between your hands, high runner's lunge. Could come up onto your fingertips or take your hands to a block or soup cans. And then see how you can align your head here. So the chin isn't sticking forward. The chin is slightly tucked and you have even extension from the base of the tailbone out through the back of the neck. Then pull the belly in, take your hands to your hips, come up to your lunge. Find some stability in your legs if that means you need to change where the feet are planted. Front knee over your ankle, left heel stretching back so it's not directly stacked over the left toe joints. And then we're going to take the hands behind the head, elbows pull together, push the head back into the hands, traction the back of the head up as the shoulders draw down and lift your heart. 3 rounds of breath here. Notice if it's starting to feel static, like a held pose, and try to make it feel like alive and growing. So the pushing, all of that constant pushing should make it feel ever evolving. Stay here or keep your elbows about where they are and stretch your arms up to the sky. Ears should be about in line with the upper arm bones. And then as you exhale, hinge forward, plant your hands, step back, downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg up to the sky. As you exhale, step the left foot forward between your hands. Lengthen through the back of the neck, draw the shoulders down the spine, scapula tips come towards the base of the heart. Push through the feet, take your hands up to your hips. Get steady, work your hands behind your head. We call this skull loop as the chin draws in and the back of the neck lengthens up. And shoulder loop as the head of the arm bones go back, scapula tips lift the chest up. Stay here, extend the arms towards the ceiling. And then as you exhale, hinge forward, plant your hands, step back to plank. You can go knees up or knees down. I'm going knees down. So if you look straight forward at the wall in front of you, which is really common, you'll get a big kink in the back of your neck where the spine does an abrupt change. So gaze slightly forward, but the chin is tucked. So we're still trying to get ears, shoulders, ribs, hips about in one line. Exhale, bend your elbows a little bit and pause. And then push straight in. A lot of times when people do push-ups, their heads drop so far down like a overripe fruit. Bend your elbows, pause, keep sliding the back of the neck up. Straighten your arms. Bend. And then come down onto your belly. Strengthen the legs, pull the belly button to the spine. You can stay up on your hands, or if it's more comfortable, you could come to your forearms for a Sphinx pose. And then begin to pull yourself forward. And then evenly back bend from the base of your spine all the way up to the back of the neck. Exhale, downward facing dog. Look forward to come forward, bottom of your exhale, step or hop your feet forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, lengthen forward, hands on your knees. Chin tucks, lengthen through the back of the neck. Now bend your knees like you're sitting in a chair. Take your hands behind your head and come up into chair pose. Tractioning the back of the neck up as you bend your knees a little bit more and try to sit your pelvis down further. It shouldn't be very much, but you should find more, like as you pull on either ends of the spine, you're creating more space between the vertebrae. Great. Push into your feet, straighten your legs. On an inhale, stretch your arms to the sky. And exhale, hinge forward. Inhale, lengthen, heart forward. Exhale, plant your hands and fold. Let's stay here for an extra moment. Active feet, shift your knees forward. And drag your sitting bones up. And try to get a little bit deeper of a hamstring stretch. You can use your fingers pushing down and forward to help pull your belly more towards your thighs. Great, and then lengthen one more time, hands to your thighs. Get long, and then exhale, plant your hands, step back to downward facing dog option, or come to plank, knees up or down. And then when you're ready, bend your elbows and pause, chaturanga. We're gonna hold it, chin in, throat draws up to the sky, shoulders pull up to the sky, then come down to your belly. Strong legs, lengthen and curl. Scan the length of your vertebrae and see if you can identify if two vertebrae are bending more than any other ones. They tend to be in your low back or your neck. Try to keep lengthening. Feel how the energy flows better and it just feels better, but it takes training. Downward facing dog. And inhale, right leg up to the sky. Open your hips to the right. Try not to allow your shoulders to change. And then step your right foot forward between your hands. I hear Violet coming. Widen your left hand. Maybe take your left hand to a block. We're gonna move into a high runner's lunge twist. Keep your left hip lifting up and then turn your chest from the left to the right. Right hand comes to your hip. Pause, make sure your left shoulder isn't coming forward, nestle it into the back of your heart. And then take your right hand behind your head. Bend your right elbow in towards the side of your right temple. And then push your head back into the resistance of your hand. Traction the back of your neck away from your heart. And feel how that helps you get an even curl through your back. And let the pose keep growing. It doesn't need to look any bigger, but it can start to feel bigger inside. You can stay here or you can straighten your arm, keeping your elbow where it is. As you exhale, unwind, step back, downward facing dog, or move through a vinyasa. Oh, that's really cool. Okay, I'm teaching the class. Can you go upstairs and watch it? Okay, I love you. Update on Violet. She's watching a Barbie sleepover show. A win for parenting everywhere. Inhale when you're ready, left leg up to the sky. Push through the arms, the legs. When you're ready, open your hips to the left. And then work the foot forward between your hands. Before we even go into the twist, we lengthen. So right hip up, push back with your pelvis towards the wall behind you as you use your fingertips to drag the spine forward. Then widen your right fingertips, left hand comes to your hips, twist. Draw the shoulders back into the sockets so they support the lift of the heart. Then take your left hand behind your head. Left hand, elbow pulls into the sides of your face, and then push your head back into your hands. And lengthen the heart more. Push forward with the left knee and back with the right heel. It's that heart, the heart space and the energy of the heart that lets us feel more open, not rushed, more able to go with the flow. That's the mind that can come in and make things feel more closed off. Maybe straighten the left arm. And when you're ready, exhale, plant your hands, step back, downward facing dog. Look forward to come forward, bottom of your exhale, step or hop, Uttanasana. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, bow. Take your hands behind your head. Chin slightly tucked, shoulders slide now, in this case, up towards the hips. Little bend in your knees. Start to lift up through the back of your skull and use the back of your skull and your hips to take you all the way up. Yeah, so the head pushing back helps activate the erector muscles that run up and down the spine that help us come up easier. Stretch your arms up to the sky, big breath in. And as you exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, plant your hands. Step back, downward facing dog. Inhale, come forward to plank. These are all optional. Bend your elbows and pause, chaturanga. Let your head serve your heart. Nice. Then come down to your belly. And then lengthen and curl cobra. Once you get to your cobra, use your hands. Keep the pose growing by continuing to drag your hands isometrically towards the back of the room and lengthen up through the back of the neck and lengthen out through the feet. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg up to the sky. Open your hips to the right. Step your right foot forward between your hands, second warrior pose. Front knee over your ankle. And if I was looking at you from the back, I'd want to see about the back ankle bone, back knee, hip bone, ribs, shoulder, ear, about in one line. Take your hands behind your head. Elbows pinch in slightly so your armpits can be hollow. And then pull the back of the neck up to the ceiling as you sit a little bit lower in your hips. So it should feel similar to our chair pose, Utkatasana, whereas the hips push down and the neck lengthens up. We're bringing more space to the jelly donuts between our vertebrae that people often call intervertebral discs. And then take a little side stretch backwards. Hands stay tractioning on the back of the neck. Keep pushing out through the feet. And then come up to center, a little side bend forward. Oh, and come back up, little side bend back. This time we're going to take our back hand to our back hip for a reverse warrior with our front hand still behind our head. You can stay here or extend the top arm straight for a full reverse warrior. Come back to center, hands behind your head. Little tip forward. Right elbow on the right thigh. Left hand stays behind the head. And stay here or straight in the top arm. Modified Parsva Konasana. Active feet, one straight line, straight-ish, from the heel to the fingertips. And then plant your hands. Downward facing dog. You can stay in downward facing dog or move through a vinyasa. When you're ready, inhale, left leg stretches up towards the sky. Maybe hip opens. And then work the left foot forward between your hands. Second warrior pose. Stack yourself up so your whole body is supporting your lifted heart, including your head. And take your hands behind your head, elbows slightly in, Back of the neck lengthens up, chin softens, pelvis pushes down. Little side stretch towards the back of the room. Scapula tip still finding the heart. And then come back up through center, a little stretch to the front of the room. I'm always surprised what a different stretch I get when I do this with my hands behind my head. Come back up through center, tip back. Right hand comes to the thigh. Left hand still behind the head as you help pull more length through your body, push out through your feet, maybe straighten the left arm, stretching out through the fingertips, pushing down through the left heel. Come back up, hands behind the head. Little side stretch forward. When you're ready, left elbow releases down for modified Parsvakonasana. Maybe straightening right arm. Keep the right sitting bone drawing back slightly. You have a little bit of flexion in the front hip. This will help you push and lengthen more. And then plant your hands, downward facing dog. You can move through a vinyasa, stay in down dog, or have a seat for a moment in heroes for a short meditation. We'll eventually meet in seated meditation. Allow your breath to deepen. The element connected to the heart is air. And when we are open-hearted and heart-centered, we can allow the air to kind of be washing through the heart, helping us let go of resentment and fear and shame or guilt. All of these qualities that come from the mind that make it so we can't be in like an open heart space. When the heart can be more open, when there can be more space and air there, I find for myself, I can be more patient and forgiving and compassionate. It takes a lot of work for me to be able to stay in that space without my head being like, and now that's enough. Okay, let your eyes slowly open. Let's come back to downward facing dog. Once you get back into your downward facing dog, take your right foot to the back of your left heel. We'll get a little bonus action on the back of the left leg. So the right toes are going to pull the left heel towards the floor. In resistance to that, you're going to push the left knee forward. And in resistance to that, you're going to pull your belly in and drag the left sitting bone up to the sky. In Anusara, we call this ankle loop, shin loop, and thigh loop. Keep the left leg like this. Stretch your right leg up to the sky without allowing your right leg to open up to the right. See how high you can lift your right leg. And it doesn't need to be very high. We're just trying to find a place where we're getting a little bit more stretch in the left leg. Actively pushing down through your left foot without locking out the knee. And then open your right leg to the right. Keep the left knee facing forward so it doesn't twist. Right, and then step your right foot forward between your hands. We're going to push up into Ardha Chandrasana, so the right hand comes forward and wide. I'm a big fan of using a block for this. Open your chest towards the left. Left hand comes on your hip. Root down through your right big toe, your right heel, your right pinky toe, your right outer heel. Firm, consistent pressing through the right foot. From your hips out through the left foot, down through your right hand. You can stay here, or if you're feeling stable to move, you can take your left hand behind your head, nose facing in the same direction as your heart. Pull your left elbow in slightly, head curls back into your hands. Stay here or straighten your arm. Let the air of your breath circulate throughout your torso, not just in the front of your body, but also in the back of the kidneys. And then we're going to come all the way up to standing. So look down, push all the way up. See if you can, as you come all the way up to standing. Computer froze, but my phone has not froze. Okay, so you're going to come all the way up to standing now, so you're balancing up on your right foot. Nice. And then catch your left foot in your left hand. Activate your left toes, keep pushing down through your right foot, knee squeezes in. Curl your shoulders back and think about that line, ankle bone, knee, hip, rib, shoulder, skull. Get yourself all stacked up. Then take your right hand behind your head, elbow pulls in. Spoiler alert, we are not going to be doing dancer right now. We're just doing a quad stretch, but we're going to use the hand to help us lengthen more. So use your right hand to help pull the throat back and up. And then use your pelvis and your glutes to help push your hips from your hips down to the earth, out through the right foot and out through the left knee. Stretching back up through the back of the skull. Really nice. Release the left foot, lift the left knee up. Take both hands behind the head. We're going to go into eagle legs. So the left leg is going to cross over the right, bend your knees a lot. Right toes can be on the floor, or left pinky toe squeezes into outer left shin. Similar to our chair pose, traction the back of the neck up as you sit lower in your hips. I've been thinking about the birds a lot as I see them flying around. Like, birds can fly up so high and they have such a big perspective. I want a big perspective so I don't freak out over small things, like Violet eating a tub of muffins secretly at 4 in the morning. Okay, we're gonna come out of this and we're gonna open our arms like wings, go into Ardha Chandrasana again. You can stay here or you can bend your left knee and do the quad stretch. Use your hips to push out through your left knee and stretch up and out through the back of your neck. And then we're gonna release the foot and slow motion step back into Trikonasana. So I like to move my right hand or block back first and then step way back for a long stance. And this often takes repositioning my legs several times to get the right stance. Then I like to bend my knees, both of them, so I can get my pelvis where I want it. You guys have all been doing this long enough. I know you know how to set up Trikonasana. So take a moment for yourself to make sure your Trikonasana is all set up. Push down through the feet, push down through the right hand. And again, we're gonna take our left hand behind our head. Elbow pulls into the midline. Lengthen through the back of the neck as you squeeze the glutes and push out through the feet. Help turn the chest up a little bit more to the left. Nose stays tracking in line with the sternum. Stay here or straighten your arm. All right, unwind. Plant your hands, downward facing dog or vinyasa. Okay, and then we'll go into the left foot pinning the right heel down. Right knee has a bend in it. Belly pulls in, right sit bone lifts up. Imagine you're pushing the top of the right thigh bone back up into the upper hamstring attachments as you pull your belly in and stretch out through the crown of your head. When you're ready, stretch your left leg up to the sky. Keep your outer left hip spinning into the midline. Figure out how you can stretch this leg up to get the quad stretch. All right, and then open your hips to the left. Right knee stays steady. And then work your left foot forward between your hands. Press up Ardha Chandrasana. Right hand will come to your hip. Actively push down through all four corners of the left foot. Actively push out through the four corners of the right foot and lengthen out through the neck. Right hand comes behind the head, add your skull loop. Oh, I just think this stuff feels so good. Maybe straighten the top arm over the ear so the elbow stays in place and the arm straightens. And from here, we're going to push all the way up to standing balance, root down through your left foot, come all the way up. Reach back for the right foot. Bend your right elbow towards the wall behind you. Activate the right toes to protect the knee, shoulders curl back, core in. Left hand will come behind the head when you feel steady. Imagining that you're gently pulling on either ends of the spine to create more length, to release the chronic tension around the spine from not being lengthened. There's that famous quote, like, you're as young as your spine is long. Create more length. If you can push down and out through the right knee a little bit more and left foot a little bit more. And then release the foot, knee comes up, hands come behind the head, going into Garudasana, eagle pose. Keep checking if your elbows get wide. When the elbows get wide, if you take your hand into the armpit, you can feel the humerus bone pushing forward. We want that humerus bone pulling in. Yeah. Sit down a little bit lower, lengthen up through the head a little bit more. Deep breath, breathing in air, that air that can remind us to take a bigger perspective on things. Oh, unwind. We're gonna go into Ardha Chandrasana. Left hand comes down to your floor or your block. Open up into your variation, perhaps doing a quad stretch with the right leg. One way you can tell if you're more in the heart or the head space is if you fall out of a pose. The head isn't as big of a fan as that. Heart's no big deal. Okay, and then we're gonna slowly step back into our Trikonasana, releasing your quad, perhaps moving your left hand back first, taking a giant step. When you're ready, taking the right hand behind your head, elbow pulls in towards the right arm, right eye, as you lengthen and curl. Maybe straightening the top arm. And then inhale, unwind, downward facing dog. Right, and then come forward to plank. Lower down chaturanga. Then we're going to come over onto our back. So just roll over on your back. Bend your knees, soles of the feet on the floor. We're going to do some crunches. And crunches are always really important to talk about as we're doing skull loop, because normally when people do crunches, they're pulling their head up, and the work from the crunch is actually this front of the neck stress muscle we're doing. So take your hands behind your head, point your elbows up to the sky, squeeze the shoulders down to the floor. Sometimes you have to like walk them together a little bit one at a time. And then begin to push the head back into your hands. Give a very small traction of the knuckles drawing towards the front of your yoga mat as the chin tucks slightly. Well, this is really good head and shoulder alignment, but we're going to be working on the core now. So I want the shoulders and the head to stay fairly steady. And then from the core, exhale and crunch up. Hold the crunch up. You're looking about towards the middle of the knees. Keep pushing the head back into the resistance of the hand, continuing to lengthen through the neck. So this won't be a very lifted crunch, but it's isolating the crunch more to the core. And then as you lower down, keep lengthening, lengthening, lengthening out through your neck as you lower down. Nice, exhale, crunch up. Notice if your head's leading the way, head back, neck long. And lower down. Do a few more of those on your own. And these don't need to be big. You could make these big, but it's more just training ourselves. Especially when it comes to like effort, our head is like, ooh, I'll do it. It's like, no, I have other things that can work as well. If you want to make it a little bit more challenging as you crunch up, you could lift up one leg. So I bring my knee stays bent, I just lift my foot up so my shin is parallel to the ceiling. And then when I lower, I bring my foot down. Crunch up, other leg lifts. Lower, lengthening. Also crunch up with both of your legs. That's a little too hard for me. I can feel when I do both my legs, so much tension going to the front of my neck. That's my gauge. Okay, finish up. All right, and then with your hands still behind your head, want to finish. Head pushes down into the hands, a little bit of traction in the back of the neck. Shoulders curl down. Keep pushing into the back of your head, push into your feet and lift your hips up for a little bridge. Remove your hands from behind your head, plant your elbows on by your sides, and keep feeling that action from the head. Head pushes down, hips lift up. Now imagine from your hips, you're pushing your hips towards your knees. You can even take your hands to your hips and help push your hips towards your knees. So we're pulling the base of our spine away from the neck. So we're still getting some traction there. And then lower down. Great, roll back over onto your belly. Put your forearms underneath you, or your elbows underneath your shoulders, so you're in Sphinx Pose. I've been really loving Sphinx Pose. I've been having, well, I'm not working with many people right now, but before all of this, I was encouraging a lot of people to do Sphinx instead of Cobra, because it seemed like their body was responding better. So you could play around with doing Sphinx instead of Cobras. Okay, so in Sphinx Pose, belly is strong, toenails push down into the floor, draw the chin in and back and lengthen through the back of your neck. Curl your arm bones back, push through the forearms and drag them towards the back of your mat, pulling yourself forward as the back of your neck lengthens up. Stay here or plant your hands and do Cobra. Really nice. Lower back down to your belly. Take a few rounds of breath here.
We're gonna take our left arm out to the side, up on your fingertips, fingertips face away from the face, thumb faces towards the face, elbow points up to the sky and shoulder lifts up away from the floor. Then roll over onto the outside edge of your left hip. I'll often bring my right foot behind my left knee a little bit. And I want my shoulder pulling back and pushing the left scapula tip into my heart. Now here, often people will get this good in the shoulder, but their head stays really far forward. So once you're in the pose, you can lower yourself so the shoulder is in line with your elbow, but don't go lower. Slide your chin in, push the nape of your neck back, and lengthen out through the back of the neck. That will help pull the heart up as you push out through your left elbow and rotate your chest up to the right. Keep reminding yourself, chin in, back of the occiput back, long neck, pulling length through your spine, pushing out through the left elbow, microscopically twisting up to the right. Oh, and unwind. Did that make sense? I think I've done that with all of you. Okay, second side. Set up for plank so the hands are by your side. You lift up about as high as you can without your hands, and then set up your right arm, right fingertips out to the side, up on your fingertips, elbows up. Begin to roll over onto the outer right hip. Make sure the right head of the arm bone doesn't pop forward. You can even turn and look at your right shoulder. That can help give you a little bit more room to squeeze it back. Then turn your nose to the left. So your nose is staying in line with your sternum. Push your head backwards until you find that like alignment, and then isometrically push it back as you traction the back of the neck up, chin in, hold the heart up, and then begin to keep lengthening. Elbow bend so the shoulder is in line with the elbow. And lengthen out through the right elbow as you microscopically turn your chest from the right to the left. If you could poke your SM, your sternocleidomastoid muscle, those muscles that, like the ropey muscles on the side of your neck, they should be less tense here. Well, you probably can't do that in this pose. When you're ready, unwind, crocodile pose, hand stack, forehead rest on the top hand. You can lift up your feet and kind of windshield them back and forth, help release the pelvis. And then come up onto your forearms and roll over to your right hip, left forearm on the floor. I apologize for my allergies. We're going to set up for modified wild things. So now come up onto your left hand. So the left hand is straight. Hand is forward of the shoulder. Hips are on the floor. Lift up your left knee, your top knee, sole of the foot on the floor. And then you're going to push down through your right hand and your legs and lift your hips up. Then take your top hand, I think I cued this for the left hand, behind your head. Elbow pulls in, push back through your head. Give your little skull loop traction as the right shoulder stays nestled into your heart. Stay here, or if you'd like, keep the left elbow where it is and straighten the arm. And come on down. Very nice. Switch sides. So we'll be sitting on our left hip, I believe, left hand forward. One of the hardest things about Zoom is I can't hear you guys be like, Kim, you forgot a side. So if that's happening, you just do what you know to be right. Okay, push down through the left hand, lift the right knee up, plant the foot on the floor, foot's forward of the left shin and foot, push down, lift your hips up. Right hand comes behind the head, elbow squeezes in, traction and lengthen. And don't lift up from the index left knuckle finger. Keep rooting down through your index left knuckle finger so your wrist doesn't roll. And if you'd like, straighten your top arm. Oh, so nice. And come on down. Right, we're gonna do Anusara with the right foot forward. I'm gonna use my cushion, which is a blanket. Step my right foot forward. Anusara, which is a low lunge, is a really hard pose because it can potentially be really opening through the chest and head, but oftentimes people lose their core work, so it causes a big collapse. So we're gonna take a longer lunge than we normally do. Oftentimes when we do knee down lunges, I want you pretty upright, but since this is towards the end of the class, we'll step the right foot further forward, both hips facing forward. Keep lifting up the left hip so you're not dropping. Then take your hands behind your head and do a little crunch. So push your head into the back of your hands, suck your shoulders in, and then imagine you're doing just a little crunch. Oh, core in. So the core is engaged. Now keep your core engaged. Sometimes I'll think about this as Wonder Woman's belt. And then keep the core in, but move your head back, roof of the mouth over your esophagus, curl the head back into your hands and open up. This is like so much effort for me, not just to collapse everywhere. Push down through your front foot and back knee, core strong, lengthening through the back of the neck. Stay here. We're gazing up with the chin still tucked, straighten your arms. Stay here or do like a backward arm circle. Palms up towards the sky, but by your hips. Like this big open-hearted pose. Oh, then pull it in. Whew, the amount of core strength that takes for me is intense. Give me a thumbs up if that's like a lot of core work for you. Nice, okay. I'm always like, is that just for me because I've had C-sections? But good to know it's not. It looks so easy when other people do it, and then I do it, and I'm like, damn, that's hard. Okay, left foot forward, come deep into the lunge. Keep pushing down so the right hip stays lifted, hands behind your head, elbows in, engage the neck alignment, and then do a little crunch. Keep the core strong, lift your head and shoulders up. This is before coronavirus. In class, I was having you guys do this over a bolster, where we'd lay over a bolster and try to do a back bend, but not, or we do crunches over the bolster. And then we try to do a back bend over the bolster, but not allow the ribs to open. So this is that same idea. Core stays in as you curl your head back. Straighten your arms. And then backward circle the arms, wide heart, full kidneys. Oh, and come on up. Perfect. Okay. So we're gonna do wild thing. So as a reminder for wild thing, I think all of you guys know this, but there's two ways to do wild thing. One is we're gonna do it from downward facing dog. One is lift the right leg up and then plant the feet and turn both of your feet towards the wall behind you. This one's much more advanced, easier to get hurt, and is used more for prepping for Ardha Chandrasana. So I want you to come up to down dog, open the hips to the side, spin onto the side of the pinky edge of the left foot, and then skin the back of the left knee. So when you lift the hips up, you're lifting the left hip up like you could fit between two planes of glass. So we're gonna go from wild thing, then we're gonna step forward and press up, and we're gonna do dancer pose with the hand behind the neck. Okay, but I'll cue it. So come into your downward facing dog.
Okay, let's do the right leg first. Inhale, right leg up to the sky. Open your hips to the right. Spin down the left pinky toe edge of the foot. Left hand will stay strong. Right foot will skin behind the left knee. Toes will plant. Then the right hand will lift up. Wild thing. Take your right hand behind your head. Chin in, throat back, shoulders draw down, lengthening the whole spine. Use your legs to ground through the feet. Breathe, big breaths. And then when you're ready, first if you want, you can straighten the top arm. Spin the thumb back and the pinky finger more down. And then when you're ready, you could step your right foot all the way forward between your hands. Get a nice, good lengthened lunge with your spine. And then push all the way up, standing balance. Catch your left foot in your hand. Take your right hand behind your head. And find the length first, so the elbow draws in, chin pushes back, back of the neck lengthens up, engage your core, push down through the legs. You can stay here or begin to kick your back foot into your hands and begin to pull more length through the back of the neck. Stay here or keep your right arm where it is, upper arm where it is, and straighten your right arm. But continue to feel length through the spine. No one vertebrae taking more of the back bend than the others. Really nice. And then release. Shake it out. Have you guys been dancing? We've been doing so much dancing around our house. I feel like we just have to get all the accumulated daily stress off of me. Okay, second side, downward facing dog. That looks really nice. Okay, in your downward facing dog, left leg lifts up. Hips open to the left, right hand stays strong. Pinky toe side of the right foot grounds. Left foot skins behind the leg. Left hip lifts up. Left hand comes behind your head, index knuckle finger of your right hand strong. Create more length and traction. Maybe straighten the top arm. Then from your core, pull the knee in, step forward. And then power in your left hip, push all the way up. Catch your foot in your hand, come into your quad stretch. Slow your breath down, feel the foot on the floor, get more grounded. Another important aspect of keeping the heart open is having a feeling of groundedness. Okay, lengthen through the back of the neck as you push out through the hips. Stay here or begin to kick your foot into your hand. Lengthen through the back of the neck. Belly in like your core, your crunch. Maybe top arm extends. Lengthen. Oh, and then when you're ready, shake it off. Okay. Awesome. We're gonna do one more back bend, I think. We're gonna do camel. Actually, let's do a seated meditation first. I'm gonna do hero's pose. Check in with how you're doing. Whenever comes up positive or negative, just isn't that interesting? And just open more space. Let your breath deepen. And begin to notice the placement of the head. And if the head's going forward, notice that, like I'll often think if the roof of the mouth was a spotlight, is it shining forward? And slide the throat back. Once it gets back enough, then add the lengthen through the back of the neck. And the shoulders just hang like your shoulders are a hanger and your muscles and your skin are closed. So they're just hanging on the hanger with this lifted, spacious heart. Breathing with the heart space open and aligned like this. You don't even need to think about wounds or stuck areas of the heart. That just naturally begins to clean as you can hold your heart open and breathe. Okay, really nice. All right, ready for camel. Violet, please turn that down. Can you guys hear Violet's music on my mic? Good, okay. Glad, happy to hear that. Okay, so for camel pose is another challenging pose where people will do it either bending too much in their low back, too much in the neck, or they'll have their neck cram forward. So it tends to be a pose that creates more tension than length. So come up to standing, we'll do a few rounds of it. I want to emphasize that the goal of camel pose is to lengthen and open. It shouldn't be a pose that we do that then we have to recover from, okay? So with your hands on your hips, from your hips, push through your knees and then stop pushing. From your hips, push down through your knees. When you push down through your knees, you should get this little in and up lift of the belly and then stop pushing. And one of the keys of camel is this pushing. So from your hips, push down through the knees, take your hands behind your head, elbows in, traction and lengthen your neck up. We're not going to do camel with our hands behind your pelvis. We're going to keep them on the head for this one, but keep lifting up through the back of your neck. Keep pushing down through your hips, and then begin to curl your head back. It does not need to be very far. Your head curls back by your heart lifting. That's what takes the ears and the head back, not by lifting up through the chin. You can even try that. If you lift up through the chin, your hands will get closer to your back of the neck. That means you've closed your cervical vertebrae. And keep your chin tucked, keep your neck long, and push to lift your heart. Nice, and then come back up to center. Sit back on your knees. We'll do that 2 more times. Notice if you got grippy in an area. Hands. Do it again. Come on up. Hands behind the neck. Push down through the hips. Lengthen up through the back of the neck. Begin to curl back. I think it's even helpful to push the feet down. So you can do this with flex feet, which is good if you're eventually if you're planning on grabbing your heels, or you can point to your toes and continue to kick your toes into the feet. As you lift your heart, tuck your chin and lengthen to the back of the neck. Okay, now from here, you can stay here, or you can take your hands to your hips. If you do, continue to tuck your chin and lengthen through your neck. Or you can take your hands to your heels. But imagine you're one of those goddess deities with multiple arms. So 2 of your hands you're still imagining are behind your head, and you're pushing your head down and tucking your chin in. And come on up. Nice, sit back on your heels. Deep breaths. Okay, last one. So you can choose to do a bigger variation of camel or a smaller one. Come on up. We'll start with the hands behind the head. Lengthen, lengthen, curl. When you're ready, you can move your hands to a different position. My favorite position is hands on my hips. Helps me not to bend too much, core stays in, but work on this skull loop where the chin gently draws in, so you're maintaining the length on the back of your neck, and you should be getting less tension on the front of your neck. And then when you come up to standing again or upright, your heart leads and your head comes up last. Very nice. Come to have a seat, extend your feet forward. Put your hands on the floor behind your back. We'll do some windshield wipers. Oh, I have to go blow my nose. You keep doing windshield wipers. I'm leaving my mic here. And let's go into a fish twist. Just point your right knee forward. Take your left foot over your right knee. Your right foot is on the outside edge of the left glute. Then take your hands on the front of your knee. And just notice, it's so helpful to notice how often our head leads the way, even just physically, without judgment. And then like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna bring it back. So draw the chin in and back. I love this idea too of being more reserved, of pulling back slightly before I take an action. Then as the head pulls back, lengthen up through the back of your neck. Feel the length come all the way up through the head. With this length, begin to rotate to the left. Left hand will come behind the back on the floor. You can hug in your knee or elbow it away. Let your focus be aligning your hips up through the top of your head. And then deep breaths. Imagining that your inhale brings in more space, more air for you to be more heart-centered through your day, and the exhale releasing tension or the tendency to be so head forward. Head forward is more fear-based. Inhale, unwind. Take the left foot, widen it. Like this has been my pose of the 3 months. I'm obsessed with this modified wild thing. So we're gonna do it one more time. We're gonna turn to the right. Right hand will be on the floor. And push down through the right hand, push down through the legs, lift up the hips. You can add your hand again. Left hand behind the head, giving yourself a little bit of traction. And when you're ready, straightening the left arm if that feels good for you. And sit back down. Switch the legs. Left knee comes forward, right foot on top. Forgot to say this last time, but if the knee doesn't like to bend, you can have it extended forward. Notice the alignment of the head. They call this front carriage in physical therapy when the head leads the way and it causes many physical problems. So head back, heart lifted. And some emotional teachings, they call this head and heart cohesion. There's not a conflict between the two. Keep your length and then begin to twist from the left to the right or whatever direction the twist is supposed to be. Push down through the sit bones, tuck your chin, lengthen out the back of the neck, curl the shoulders back. Breathe air through the whole torso, inhaling more space, more compassion. whatever you need more of that keeps you gentle and spacious. And exhale, releasing the tension, releasing stress. Inhale, unwind. We'll get ready for that wild thing. Widen the front foot. I think that's your right foot. Turn to the left hand on the ground. Push down, lift the hips up. One of the reasons I love this is because it's a great pec stretch too. You keep pulling the left shoulder back as you spin your chest more up to the right. Right hand comes behind the head. Lengthen through the back of the neck. Ground down through the left knuckle finger. Maybe extend your left hand, no, right hand. And then when you're ready, come on down. Let's do, John, you Shavasana. Let's pull the right foot and left leg forward. There's two ways to do this. One is by taking the sole of the left foot to the upper, the sole of the right foot to the left upper inner thigh, like tree legs, or widening your legs more past 90, taking your right heel into your right upper groin. And pull your glutes back so the pelvis bowl can be neutral. Sitting up on a blanket or cushion is helpful for this. And then hands frame your left leg. Twist your chest from the right to the left. Align your head over your pelvis by sliding your throat back. Either stay here or hinge at your hips. Try to get your belly to come more towards the thigh so you're not rounding yourself forward. And then take your right hand somewhere on the outside edge of your left leg. Chin stays tucked. Try to create a long-ish line, so avoid curling. And then use whatever you're anchored onto with your right hand to pull more length through your spine. Slide the shoulders down through your back and breathe. You can stay here, or we're going to twist open. If you want to twist open, we're going to take our left hand down to the floor behind the left thigh. It could also be elbow or just the hand. Right hand will come behind the head. Pull the chest open, curl the head back into the hand. Keep rooting down through your inner right thigh. Stay here or straighten the right arm. If your foot's around there, you can grab your foot. And keep your head pulling back, shoulders pulling down, lengthen. And use your core, come on up. Hands behind you. Head slides back, deep breaths. It's like tuning an instrument so you have a good harmony for you to enjoy. Switch your sides. I've been playing the ukulele so much these days, and it still surprises me that every time it comes untuned, even if I've played it like earlier that day. Okay, so your choice, foot to the inner thigh or wider foot. If your knee floats up, you could put something underneath it. Widen the pelvis back or put some more cushions under you. Neutral pelvis, hands frame the right leg. Chin in, head pushes back, activating the back chain of muscles that help you stand up nice and tall. Stay here or hinge at your hips. Belly lengthens to the thigh. Left hand reaches and holds on to something. Don't look straight forward. That will put too big of a bend in only the back of the neck. So the chin tucks and you lengthen through the back of your neck and then begin to pull. Even if it doesn't look like a deep pose, you can do this internal work that should make it feel deep. Back of the neck lengthens, shoulders slide down the back. And then turning into the twist, the right hand will come down. Turn your chest from the right to the left. Left hand comes behind the head.
Push the head into the hand. One last pose to really lengthen, shoulders down the back. Maybe straighten the top arm. And come on back. I extend the legs forward, kick them out, and kind of slap the body. A little lymph massage. Just work your hands up from your feet. Brush it off. And then come to lay on your back for Shavasana. To make sure that you're comfortable. Allow your breath to feel almost like ocean waves riding up over your body, helping to soothe you and release tension and holding. Your body still. Get your awareness back. With your awareness back to yourself. Hold this wide open space for your heart to be.
And feeling the lack of chaos when you're dwelling more in your heart than your thinking mind. And begin to deepen your breath. Move your toes and fingers. Maybe stretch your arms towards the wall behind you, doing a full body stretch, and your toes up to your fingers. And pull your knees into your belly, roll over to your side, give a little pause on your side, and then eventually make your way all the way up. Seated meditation. In your seated meditation, slide your head back so your heart can be lifted and full. I wanted to end with this somatic massage, where you take your fingertips together. So they're like two little points. You take them to your inner eyes and sweep over your eyes. And then push down on your temples gently. And then down around your ears. Push down on your shoulders. And slide your hands in front of your heart. Do that a few more times on your own. Finish up the one you're on. And then keep your hands on your heart once they get there. And bow your head towards your heart. And bowing the head to serve the heart. So we can be kind to ourselves and others. Thank you guys so much for being here today. It's always so good to see you. Namaste. See you.